My dear friend, let me ask you something. Have you ever sat quietly, maybe with a warm cup of tea in your hands, and wondered, after everything I have lived through, why does my heart still feel heavy? You have walked through decades of change. You have raised children, cared for family, worked hard, and carried responsibilities that only you could bear. You have known love, and you have known loss. You have celebrated moments of joy and survived storms that would have broken many others. And yet, even now, there are days when the weight does not sit on your shoulders, but inside your heart. It feels invisible, but it is real. Here is the gentle truth. At this stage of life, happiness is not about adding more. It is not about more things, more people, or more achievements. It is about what you can finally allow yourself to release. You see, for so many years, we were taught that joy comes from having more possessions, more duties, more control. But freedom in these years of wisdom comes not from adding, but from subtracting, from letting go of the things that no longer serve you. So tonight, I want to walk beside you like an old friend, and together, we will uncover 10 things you can finally release. Not tomorrow, not someday, but beginning right now. 1. Let go of the belief that you are done growing. My dear friend, one of the heaviest lies whispered to women as they grow older is this: you have already learned enough. Your days of growth are behind you. Maybe you have heard that voice inside, or maybe others have suggested it gently, as if life after 70 is simply about waiting, resting, and watching the world move on without you. But let me remind you of something powerful. The moment you stop learning, the world becomes smaller. Life loses its sparkle, and the days begin to blur into one another. Think back to when you were younger. Every season of your life brought something new. A first job, a first child, a first home, maybe even a first heartbreak. And every new thing taught you something, whether you realized it at the time or not. Growth was the thread that carried you forward. Why should that thread end now? I have seen women in their 70s who decided to pick up a paintbrush for the first time and discovered a joy they never knew was inside them. I have watched a grandmother learn how to use video calls so she could see her granddaughter smile every evening, and that small act opened her heart in ways she never imagined. Some women learn a new language, some join a choir, others simply start asking more questions about the world around them. It does not matter what you choose to explore. What matters is the spirit of curiosity, the decision to remain a student of life. Because when curiosity stays alive, the soul stays young. A curious woman never grows old in her spirit. She remains awake to wonder, to discovery, to possibility. So let me ask you, when was the last time you tried something new? Not because you had to, but because your heart whispered, why not? You see, your story is not finished. And as long as you allow yourself to learn, to reach, to grow, you are not fading. You are blossoming. Let go of the belief that your learning years are over. They are not. And if you carry a spirit of curiosity, every single day can still surprise you. 2. Release the burden of toxic relationships. Now let us talk about something tender, and maybe even painful. As women, many of us have spent our whole lives caring for others. We give, we nurture, we sacrifice, and sometimes, in the name of keeping peace, we hold on to people who steal our peace. You know the ones I mean. The friend who always gossips, the relative who always criticizes, the neighbor who always belittles, maybe even a family member who crosses every boundary you try to set. At 70 or 80, your energy is more precious than gold. You cannot afford to spend the years you have left surrounded by voices that tear you down. And yet, so many women stay quiet because we were taught to be nice, to be forgiving, to keep trying. But let me say this clearly. You owe no one the sacrifice of your peace. I remember a woman who once told me, "I have put up with my sister's bitterness for 40 years. Every visit left me drained. But I told myself, she is family. I must endure it." Do you know what happened when she finally stepped back and set a boundary? She found freedom. She found space for relationships that were warm, kind, and uplifting. She stopped bracing for pain every time the phone rang. It is not cruel to protect your heart. It is not selfish to choose peace. The truth is, when you release toxic relationships, you make room for better ones. You make space for friends who encourage you, for neighbors who make you laugh, for family members who respect your soul. So, I ask you gently, who in your life drains your spirit? Who leaves you feeling small instead of loved? My dear friend, it is time to release them, because every year you continue to carry them is a year of joy lost. And at this stage of life, joy is too precious to waste. 3. Declutter your spaces. Declutter your heart. Now, let us move to something both simple and powerful. Clearing the clutter. Take a moment to picture your home. Maybe there is a drawer filled with things you never use, a closet packed with clothes that no longer fit, or a garage full of items saved for someday. Each item might seem small, but together, they weigh on your spirit. They whisper, "You are stuck in the past." But clutter is not only physical. There are also the boxes we carry in our hearts, old grudges that never faded, regrets that replay in our minds like a broken record, guilt we never let go of. These invisible piles of clutter can be heavier than any box in the attic. Imagine waking up in a house where every object has a place and a purpose. Imagine opening your heart and finding no old bitterness tucked away, no heavy regret pressing down. That is the gift of decluttering, both inside and out. I once knew a woman who finally decided to sort through a drawer she had avoided for years. Inside, she found an old letter from a man she once loved, but lost. For decades, the letter had been a source of pain, a reminder of what could have been. But as she sat there at 75, she realized she could read it with gratitude instead of grief. She smiled, whispered thank you, and let it go. And in that moment, she felt lighter than she had in years. Decluttering is not about throwing away memories. It is about choosing what deserves space in your life today. Donate the clothes, give away the items, release the regrets, create a home and a heart that feel like freedom. Because when you let go of clutter, you do not lose. You gain space, space for peace, space for joy, space for new beginnings. 4. Release the fear of aging. My dear friend, let us pause and talk about something that almost every woman feels, but very few will admit out loud: the fear of aging. Society has spent decades whispering in our ears that every wrinkle is a flaw, every gray hair is a defeat, every slower step is proof that we are fading away. Magazines, commercials, even doctors sometimes push the idea that aging is something to fight against, something to cover up, something to fear. But here's the truth. Aging is not a curse. It is a privilege. Every wrinkle etched across your face is proof that you smiled, that you laughed, that you lived through storms and still found joy. Every gray hair is not a sign of decline. It is a silver crown that tells the world you endured. You survived. You kept going. The scars you carry, whether visible or hidden, are the marks of battles fought and won. They are not weaknesses. They are badges of honor. Let me tell you about a woman I once met at a community gathering. She was 81 years old, with long silver hair tied back in a braid. When someone complimented her beauty, she smiled and said, "These lines on my face, they are my autobiography. Every one of them tells a story. Why would I ever want to erase that? That kind of confidence and acceptance is what turns aging from something to fear into something to celebrate. Think about it this way. Not everyone got the privilege to stand where you are today. Some of your friends, loved ones, maybe even family members never reached this stage. But you did. That alone is something to be deeply grateful for. Every year you are given is another chance to love, to learn, to grow, to create. So release the fear of aging. Stop listening to a culture that glorifies youth and overlooks wisdom. Instead, remind yourself that these years are not an ending, but a beginning. They are an invitation to live with more freedom, more honesty, and more joy than ever before. You are not fading, my dear friend. You are shining brighter with the light of wisdom. 5. Stop waiting for others to make you happy. Another heavy burden to release is the belief that happiness will arrive when someone else delivers it to you. Many women spend years waiting for children to call, waiting for a spouse to notice, waiting for friends to invite them somewhere, waiting for life to suddenly become joyful. But here is the hard truth. Said with love, no one else is responsible for your happiness. Not your children, not your partner, not your friends, not society. If you wait for them to make you happy, you will wait forever. The happiest women I know are not the ones with the biggest families or the fullest calendars. They are the ones who create their own joy every single day. They do not sit by the phone waiting for it to ring. Instead, they take a walk in the park. They plant flowers. They bake cookies for the neighbors. They sing along with the radio. They choose joy. I remember a woman named Carol who told me, "For years I thought my happiness depended on my husband. When he passed away, I felt like my joy had been buried with him. But one morning, I realized my happiness is not gone. It is here, waiting for me to claim it." She began painting, something she had always wanted to try. At 73, she discovered a joy that was entirely her own, and it transformed her life. The power of happiness is this. When you stop outsourcing it to others, you take back your freedom. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver again. Yes, love from others matters. Yes, companionship is sweet, but the well of joy must begin inside you. So let me ask you, what small thing can you do today, just for yourself, that would make your heart lighter? Whatever it is, do not wait for permission. Do not wait for someone else to give it to you. Happiness is not delivered like a package. It is grown like a garden, and you are the gardener. 6. Let go of comparisons with the young. And now, my dear friend, it is time to talk about something that quietly steals joy every single day. The habit of comparing yourself to younger generations. It is easy to do, isn't it? You see young women moving quickly, working jobs with energy you no longer have, traveling, raising families, chasing dreams. And sometimes, deep down, you feel left behind. You wonder, am I still valuable? Am I still needed? Do I still matter? But here is the truth. You are not supposed to compete with them. That season of speed, of building, of proving, of running, it was yours once, and you lived it fully. But now you are in a different season, and this one carries treasures that youth cannot touch. Youth may be fast, but wisdom is steady. Youth may be strong, but wisdom is powerful. Younger women may run ahead, but they do not yet have the perspective, the patience, or the depth that you carry. And believe me, they need you. They may not always say it out loud, but they look to women like you for guidance, for strength, for living proof that life does not end when the calendar turns to 70 or 80. I knew a grandmother who once said to her teenage granddaughter, "You see my wrinkles and my slower steps, but what you cannot see is the battles I have fought, the nights I cried and still got up the next day, the choices I made that shaped this family. That young girl hugged her tightly and whispered, "Grandma, I hope I grow strong enough to be like you." Comparisons rob joy. They make you focus on what you no longer have instead of the treasures you carry right now. The truth is, you do not need to look younger. You do not need to act younger. You only need to embrace the beauty of who you are today. So release the habit of comparing yourself to younger women. Their season is theirs. Your season is yours. And this season, with its wisdom, perspective, and grace, may be the richest one of all. 7. Release the weight of regret. My dear friend, if there is one invisible burden that many women carry into their later years, it is regret. Regret is like a heavy backpack that you never take off. It slows your steps, bends your shoulders, and whispers in your ear. If only I had. If only I had not. What if? For decades, those whispers can follow you until you almost forget how it feels to walk freely without them. But here is the truth that may surprise you. Regret does not fix the past. It cannot rewrite yesterday. No matter how many times you replay that choice you made or that chance you missed, the past will not change. What regret does is poison the present. It steals the joy you could feel right now. It keeps you facing backward when life is inviting you to turn around and look forward. I knew a woman named Margaret who often told me she regretted not finishing college. She said, "If only I had studied harder, I might have had a different career, a different life." For years, that regret made her feel smaller, as if her entire life had been less than it should have been. But one day, at 76, she signed up for a community art class, and she discovered she had a gift for painting that no degree could have given her. She told me, "I cannot change the past, but I can still create beauty today." Her joy was not in rewriting her past, but in releasing regret so she could embrace the present. My dear friend, maybe you regret words you did not say, or words you said in anger. Maybe you regret opportunities missed or mistakes made. But I want you to hear this. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. That is enough. You do not need to keep punishing yourself for being human. Forgive yourself. Forgive the younger version of you who did not yet have the wisdom you carry now. Take the lesson, release the regret, and walk lighter into tomorrow. Because what lies ahead matters far more than what lies behind. 8. Throw away the lie that it is too late. Now let us talk about one of the most destructive lies of all, the belief that your best years are behind you. The thought that after 70 or 80, life is simply a slow decline toward the end. This lie has stolen hope from so many women. It tells you not to bother, not to dream, not to try. But the truth, my dear friend, is this: it is never too late. I once read about a woman who published her first novel at 88 years old. Another woman began ballroom dancing at 74 and said it made her feel like a young girl again. A grandmother I know started her first small business selling handmade quilts at 82, and the joy it brought her was more than money could ever buy. These women did not believe the lie that their time was over. They chose to keep living fully, and in doing so, they discovered that life can bloom at any age. Every morning you wake up, as long as your heart is beating and your mind is dreaming, you are not done. The pen is still in your hand, and your story is still being written. Do not let anyone convince you that your possibilities have expired. Maybe there is something you have always wanted to try. Maybe you want to travel to a place you have only seen in photographs. Maybe you want to write letters to your grandchildren so they can know your wisdom. Maybe you want to sing in the church choir, learn how to bake something new, or simply start walking every evening to feel the fresh air in your lungs. None of these dreams are too late. The truth is, Your later years can be the richest years if you dare to believe in possibility. Let go of the lie that your time has passed. Because as long as there is breath in your body, life is inviting you to live it fully. 9. Release the need to always be strong. This one may feel especially tender, because women of your generation were often told that strength was your duty. You were the backbone of your family. You held things together when they threatened to fall apart. You stayed strong through loss, through illness, through disappointment. You carried burdens without letting others see you bend. And because of that, many of you now believe that you must always be strong, no matter how tired your soul feels. But let me share a secret. True strength is not about never breaking. True strength is about knowing when to lay the armor down. It is about letting someone else carry you for a while when your shoulders are weary. It is about admitting, I need help. And knowing that does not make you weak. It makes you human. I once sat with a woman who had lost her husband after 52 years of marriage. Everyone around her admired her for how strong she seemed. But one evening she confessed, I am so tired of being strong. I want to cry and not hide it. I want someone else to hold me. And when she finally allowed herself to weep in the arms of her daughter, she found relief she had denied herself for months. Strength without softness hardens the heart. But when you give yourself permission to be vulnerable, you invite love to flow in. You allow others the gift of caring for you, just as you have cared for them all your life. That is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of courage. So release the belief that you must always carry the load alone. Lay down the armor. Breathe. Let others hold you when you are weary. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that you are not as strong as everyone thinks. And that is perfectly, beautifully okay. 10. Let go of the habit of living only for others. My dear friend, this last one may feel like the hardest. For so many years, you have lived your life for others. You were the one who woke up early to pack lunches, who stayed up late to comfort a sick child, who worked long hours or pinched pennies to keep food on the table. You were the one who put your dreams on hold so that your family could chase theirs. You carried the invisible weight of being the heart of your home. And let me say this, your sacrifice has not gone unnoticed. Your family, whether they say it often or not, has been shaped by the love and effort you poured into them. You have given so much, but now in this season of life, it is time to remember something important. You are allowed to live for yourself too. I knew a woman named Helen who once told me, when my children grew up and had families of their own, I felt lost. For years, I had lived only for them when they no longer needed me in the same way. I did not know who I was anymore. Slowly, she began to reclaim small joys. She took walks by herself, joined a book club, and eventually started writing poetry, something she had loved as a girl. And one day she said to me, I finally realized my story is not just about what I gave to others. It is also about who I am becoming. My dear friend, your story is not finished. It is not only about the sacrifices you made in the past, but about the joy you can choose now. Living for yourself does not mean you love your family less. It means you are finally giving yourself permission to breathe, to laugh, to create, to enjoy the life you still have. So let go of the habit of living only for others. Begin to ask yourself, what brings me joy? What do I want to experience? Then give yourself that gift, because you deserve it. You always have. The gentle invitation. So here we are, my dear friend. We have walked together through 10 heavy things that no longer need to weigh you down. The belief that you are done growing, the burden of toxic relationships, the clutter of your home and your heart, the fear of aging, the wait for others to make you happy, the comparisons with the young, the weight of regret, the lie that it is too late, the demand to always be strong, and the habit of living only for others. Each one of these is a chain that has kept you from feeling fully alive. But here's the truth. You do not have to carry them anymore. You can lay them down. And the moment you do, you will feel lighter, freer, more alive than you have in years. Life after 70 is not the end. It is the beginning of a chapter that can be filled with peace, freedom, and joy. As long as you wake up each morning, as long as your heart is beating, you are not finished. You are becoming. So if even one word tonight touched your heart, I invite you to leave just one word below. Free. Free from burdens. Free to love on your own terms. Free to live lighter. Free to be yourself. You are not done. My dear friend, you are only beginning, and the best chapter of your life is still ahead.